Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime, and I am here tonight to discuss a topic that has been coming up um, to me personally, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who's gotten this. But a topic that has been said multiple times: should people that are Caucasian or white, like me, be allowed to discuss or talk about things of ethnic crimes? Or black crime or Latino crime or any crime that's not involving a person that is non-ethnic. Um, I have my thoughts on this, and I'm sure a lot of people have their thoughts on this. So if you are already subscribed to the channel, thank you for the support. If you're not, please do so. It doesn't cost anything. Um, Share, comment, and all that good stuff. So let's see. Give me one second. Okay, let's get back into this. I've had this channel for about a year and a half now. I started in January of 2024. And I cover a lot of ethnic cases, and it's just what pops up where I live. I cover a lot of local cases. And the very first case I ever covered was Marissa Carmichael. And if you look at my videos, you'll see that there are a ton of videos about her missing person case, an absolute ton. Now, Marissa Carmichael is mixed race. Um, her mother is white, her father is black. So she qualifies as a black missing person. But when I started talking about the truth of what was going on in her case, her background, the other people involved, their background, I caught a lot of flack about that. Mostly because people kept saying the past doesn't matter. But I like to say that when it comes to a missing person case and you don't know why they're missing, everything matters, past and present, because you don't know if something from the past is what's causing them to be missing in the present. That's my feeling, my belief on that. And then, we get to Laquan Little. Hello. Um, Laquan Little, I caught hell about that because I brought up his criminal past because we didn't know why he was missing. And he was currently being prosecuted uh, for drug trafficking of cocaine and fentanyl. Caught crap about that. And then finally, down the road, I get to Sean Zimmerman Jr. He's a 19-year-old kid. Um, he's a man. He's over 18. But 19 years old, was shot in a car, and his family literally called me a white bee and said I had no business speaking about him. And I have caught hell before from people saying that because I am Caucasian, I should not be talking about crimes involving ethnic people. And my thing is, why can't I? I mean, they get reported on the news like everybody else. Are people in the news not allowed to talk about people that are ethnic? That especially if the newscasters are, not ethnic. I mean, I don't understand that. Freedom of speech and whatnot. Hey, Alex. So we're just talking about the fact that can white people talk about ethnic people in crime? Because that's something I've caught a lot of flack for. In fact, when I was talking about, was it Lake? I think it was Lake One Little. I had somebody, many, many negative comments. Hello, Carlos. Um, I had many, many comments to the, saying only white people want to talk about black people, blah, 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 blah. And I actually had one person comment saying, why are you always talking about the black families? Why don't you do a video on your own family? So I did. I did one on my late husband, who happened to be black. So I did one on him and his past. So, but that's the question. Like Carmelo Anthony, I tried to stay middle of the road with the Carmelo Anthony case, and I caught hell from the black community, and I caught hell from the white community. because I said the kid wasn't evil. I don't know this child. I don't know him. So is he evil? Because there's not been any statistics, there's not been any news, there's been nothing stating he had any previous altercations with anybody prior to this thing with him and Austin Metcalf. Okay, Alex, I can go with that. So Alex just commented, how about people stop trying to get societal permission from others and say whatever you believe and stand on it? I do. Because I've never stopped commenting on whatever crime comes my way, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. I still talk about all of it. Um, but I'm just wondering, why is it such a problem in general for people that do what I do and say what we say about, or giving our commentary on what is going on in the world today? Why is it such an issue if it is somebody who is white commenting on something that is black? Why is it a problem? Because it seems like, for me, I don't go around just making up stuff. When I talk about cases, I bring up actual factual evidence of what these people have done and where it's going and whatnot. This is what I do. Now, if I say anything further than that, that there is no evidence for it, it's my opinion. And I say, this is my opinion. I have no facts. I have no evidence of this. This is just my opinion. And yet people don't like hearing anything I have to say. And I don't know why. It's just, I'm no different than Piers Morgan. I'm no different than Nancy Grace. I'm no different than, oh God, I mean, anybody who does this. So my thing is, give me a reason why. What's the point? I actually had somebody tell me that black people can't be racist. It's not, only white people can be racist. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Because if you dislike somebody for the race that they are, that's racist, no matter what race you are. Hence the definition of racism. Um, so yeah, so that I wanted to talk about that because like this Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf case is really starting to divide people into two factions. And the Anthony family has made fools of themselves by the representation they have brought on to help them plead their son's case. First by that Dominique Alexander, who is the CEO of the Next Generation Action Network. The guy's a complete clown. He's got fraud charges, he's got domestic violence charges, he's got child abuse charges, theft charges. Not a great guy. So I don't know why you would have him speak for you. And now they've gone and got Charleston White. And for those of you who don't know who he is, which I don't know how anybody doesn't know who he is, I would say he's a comedian. I think that's what he's trying to be. He's a comedian. And he says a lot of sort of anti-black rhetoric. He does talk he's very outspoken, and he just says a lot of things that I'm like, wow, that's kind of bold coming from you. Like he says, like black people aren't smart, and he says, um, that's just the one that stuck with me. Like, why would you say that? But this whole thing with Carmelo Anthony, when it first popped up, his attitude was that boy's going to jail. He's guilty as all get out, blah, 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 blah. Now that he is a spokesperson for the family, he's like, oh, stand your ground, defend yourself. It was, he felt threatened, all this other crap. So it's, it's crazy how it's okay for him to flip flop, but if anybody else does, it's not good. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. How is one okay, but the other is not? You know, um, I was married to a black man for 22 years. I do have some insight into the black community. I have two children that are mixed race. It doesn't make me an expert, but I do have some insight, you know. Um, and I do understand, unfortunately, in statistics, black on black crime is higher than anything else. And I don't know why people keep saying bring the white man down and all that stuff. I don't understand all that. But I'm just curious because like all I keep hearing is this white lady only wants to talk about the bad things of black people. But unfortunately, that's what covers the news is all this local stuff. We've got, oh God, what's the new stuff now? We've got a 15-year-old girl who was shot and killed while dog sitting in McLeansville, which is a little bit outside of Greensboro. She's from High Point, 15-year-old girl. And I think she was targeted because she lives in High Point and McLeansville is like 35, 40 minutes away. How did they know she was in that house? So I want to say she was probably targeted. Um, we had another 15-year-old boy that went missing and has been found. Sad case. Then we had the two young men that were shot and killed beginning of June. These are all people of color. These are all cases that have made the news. All of it has. And I understand it's okay for some to talk about it and others not to, you know. I just don't get it. That's all. I mean, that's all I'm really trying to say tonight is, I'm just sick and tired of the double standard. Just sick and tired of it. So I'm going to make this pledge. I'm still going to talk about what I'm going to talk about in the way I talk about it. And I'm just going to be me. I'm going to give my opinion, and either you watch it or you don't. Simple as that. Now, those of you out there that have reached out in a threatening nature, um, I have gotten some threats of the death type, and I have reported that to the police. So, you don't have to threaten me with my life. And, simple as that. And I'm not afraid because, you want to try to be big and bad, stop threatening people. Um, so yeah, I don't tolerate that either. I don't. But if anybody has any questions or statements they want to make, I see somebody said, let's see, put my glasses on because I'm old. Mr. McLibtard, black crime is out of hand. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know if I would specify, say, black crime. I think crime in general is out of hand because you have crime all over the damn place. It doesn't seem to matter who's doing it, it's just happening. I mean, we've got a guy in High Point that he's white. He was convicted of pedophilia in Minnesota, did 10 years, and then now has moved to North Carolina, and they just got him for 15 counts of exploitation of a minor. And it was very graphic. And he had images on his phone. He hadn't done anything to a child, but he had images on his phone of this stuff. And that's another question I have because why are people that are pedophiles and rapists able to get out so easily? Because from what I understand, that type of behavior, that type of predatory behavior, is not something that can ever be rehabbed. So you don't ever get over that kind of desire, you know? So why turn these people loose on innocent people? Oh, and Mr. McLibtard just said the but white people do it too argument is old and tired. No, I agree with you. I mean, all of it's old and tired. But what's the answer? You know, because we've got guns being freely sold easily. People were able to get them. Drugs being sold easily. People being trafficked for sex very easily. Um, what's the answer to any of this? And I don't know what that is. I mean, we've got cops who, just the police force in Greensboro is understaffed severely, and then you've got the ones that are working there that are afraid to get shot. Nobody wants to take that job and possibly get killed. And I can't say I blame them, but there's no quick answer to any of this. There just isn't. And I mean, I have to go downtown tomorrow and get a restraining order against somebody who's been bothering me over all this in Section 8. Okay, so explain to me how Section 8 adds to crime. I don't understand that. Because that's a good question. I mean, I would like to know what's the correlation on that. So, I mean, that's one comment we just got in Section 8. Okay. Um, I think if we had more jobs that paid better, that would be one way to help the economy and maybe make crime less, happening. But at the same time, once you get a taste of that easy money from stealing drugs or doing anything illegal that you do, it's hard to get out of that. Very hard to get out of that. And I've known too many people who've gone into that world and just could not get back out because they just couldn't work a regular 9 to 5 because it just doesn't make the money. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to that either. I mean, the way Trump is going right now, there's going to be a lot of social service type um, programs that are going to end. Like we have a social service group called Urban Ministry that's in downtown Greensboro. They're no that was the place to go if you needed help with rent or any type of utility bill. No longer doing it. They don't have the funding. Before that, it was soup kitchens were getting shut down because they weren't getting the funding. Homeless shelters not getting funding. They're shutting down. It's really crazy the things that are going away. And Section 8 is probably going to be one of them. I mean, it's hard to, from what I understand, it's hard to find anything with Section 8 anyway anymore because most private landlords don't want to deal with the rigmarole of to get a house approved and then getting paid by the state. Because from what I understand, the state just takes forever to pay you. So there's that. But but we can talk about social service programs all day long. I mean, I think the shocking thing that I heard earlier was, you've got school systems that need teachers, but they're laying off personnel because they don't have the funding and they're bringing AI in to help with some of this stuff. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Um, and then there was another podcaster that was talking about like that college is a scam because unless you are going to school to be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, something like that, why go? Because you can just go get a job that's not in one of those three fields and just work. And I understand that sentiment. I really do. So, I've got two kids. Well, I've got one that's in college right now, one that might go back. And I was just telling them, like, hey, you might want to rethink what your majors are because of this. Now, of course, they're all convinced it's because of the president we have right now. I don't know if it's going to change if we get another one. Well, once, his term ends. But it's just something to consider. It really is. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.